So I'm going in a few seconds. We're going to welcome people to the adjust my microphone to the Staying Sane podcast. So I'm going in a few seconds. We're going to
There it
welcome
is.
people to the. So welcome everybody to the Staying Sane podcast. We are live now, and today's subject is a really urgent, important subject called. We're calling it "Breaking the Trance."
Break the trance. Break it.
Just broke it right there. Um, so, do you? I can introduce this, but maybe you have a good introduction. Would you like to introduce, or would you like me to do it?
You go right ahead, Albert.
So, I've noticed over the years of doing hypnotherapy that people have like concerns, and one concern is that could I be hypnotized and stay in hypnotic trance forever, or for a long time? And the part of the reason why this is such a common fear is that there are movies that show it happening. And so there are two really big examples that I'll give right away. One famously is Office Space, the movie where the whole idea of the movie is predicated on the main character goes to see a hypnotist, the hypnotist puts him into trance, and then without giving away too much, dies in the middle of the session. And then it's kind of almost like a joke. Now the guy is permanently hypnotized. It is a joke. He's permanently hypnotized. And what's interesting is he doesn't care about things. He's not worried. He feels very relaxed. And he goes on to become a criminal and a bunch of other things precisely because he's in a trance
I don't care. Everything's fine.
exactly, where nothing bothers him. And there's a little bit of truth to that, which is that one of the roles of hypnotic trance is to feel very relaxed and calm. Nothing really troubles you. And that's kind of accurate. The part that's not accurate is that you would stay in trance forever if that was to happen. Your hypnotist dies in the middle of the session. Now, let me just say one thing too. I'll talk about this carefully, another way
No,
into this.
we'll get there.
Yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead.
uh, One thing you just mentioned is a common misconception about hypnosis, which is that it requires a state of deep relaxation. And while often a practicing hypnotist or hypnotherapist will use relaxation as the easiest and most reliable way to bring someone into hypnosis,
The doorway, yes.
which is our doorway into our work. Okay, often we use relaxation, but that doesn't mean that you need to feel completely relaxed in order to be in a trance state or to be in hypnosis. And this is really important for the second point that we're also going to be discussing about breaking the trance, which is another form of being in hypnosis is through confusion. We call them confusion inductions, and we deliberately get somebody like, wait, what? And when you're kind of like, I don't know, we go right into the subconscious. It's another doorway.
Another one I would say is visualization. So you don't have to be in deep trance to visualize, to imagine.
Storytelling, especially storytelling that is heavy on imagery or visualization. But visualization is going to come through the form of storytelling most often, and again, most effectively.
Yes. So I like what you're saying, which is your point. Your point is that there are, although deep trance is kind of the cliche stereotype that you see in movies, also I would say that many hypnotherapists and hypnotists believe that you get more accomplished in deep trance. And so in that movie, you see that, yes, deep trance is what causes this sort of permanent change. And I should add a little thing that even though it's a crazy movie where the guy is hypnotized and he feels relaxed and calm about his life, which actually leads him to commit crimes and a bunch of other things, what is maybe more intriguing is to say that that's actually a bit how hypnosis works, except for the committing crimes part, which is you can help people become more relaxed and more calm about things all the time, the time.
And calm is a very empowered state. You make much more intelligent decisions when you're operating from a place of calm.
Yes. So I was going to give another example of why people are concerned with breaking the trance. Well, there's three. One, Office Space. Two, MAGA. So there is.
This is what I'm talking about with the confusion.
Right. So actually, go ahead. What are you going to say?
What I'm saying is that you could be stuck, you can't be in a state of hypnosis if you're profoundly, profoundly relaxed for too long and you never like re-energize. That could be a client's, misconception. It's like, what if I'm just like this forever, like in Office Space? No, that's a myth. That's not what's going to happen. But you could be very relaxed for a long time, in which state you would be open and receptive to suggestions.
You can also change your internal programming so that when you face challenges, you respond to them in a relaxed and calm way. The point, I'm just sort of saying that it can become a fundamental program, not just a temporary state. Um,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, you can use the temporary state in order to install the fundamental program.
Mm.
And with I'm introducing the confusion because we can also be for like a long time stuck in a state of being confused, in which case, because it's a doorway into hypnosis, and hypnosis is a state of being highly suggestible, we might be responding to suggestions that are coming through while we're not realizing we're confused, because that's often one of the like insidious meta qualities of confusion is you don't even know you're confused. You're like really suggestible in that state. It's like, who, what's going, where am I? What? And then somebody's like, this is reality. And when we're talking about break the trance on the highest level, which is what we're always here to talk about and to inspire ourselves to think more profound truths, we have to break ourselves and each other out of this like trance state that we're in as the civilization is crumbling around us and we're just like stunned and staring as the world goes up in flames, being highly suggestible for somebody to say, vote for this guy, do that thing, get up in arms. And we're just like, we're just doing it. We have
So
to break out of this.
exactly. So let me try to rephrase. This is a difficult thing to explain, but
I think I'm doing an okay job.
yeah. So what is going on is that this is a crucial year in the world. In America, you can argue, well, wasn't last year crucial? No, this year is more crucial. Why? Because the midterms are coming. If America is going to save itself, and I realize that's a political point of view, but I think that truth is on the side of that. If America is going to save itself, it is time to break the trance and start doing stuff that will make sure that America survives Trump. It's not clear that America will survive Trump. In fact, now it looks like it won't. But that is why we have to be aware and awake and come out of this. And it's happening now. I mentioned MAGA only because we know that a lot of MAGA people, who sometimes people accuse of being members of a cult, who are obviously entranced by Trump, are breaking the trance and are waking up and suddenly realizing, wait, I don't think Trump is actually good for the economy. I don't think he's good for humans, and actually he might be kind of the last person you want as president. But it is interesting to see that happening, and it is interesting to try to guess why people are waking up. Meaning, for years they were like, Trump can do no wrong, and there are plenty of people who still think that, but they are waking up from that trance now. And that's very, very intriguing from a hypnosis point of view. I'm curious what you think. You're kind of in Trump Central there in Florida, where you probably
It's so funny because as like a spiritual principle, I have programmed myself to see the best in people. And I do believe in, as we do, like what we see, what we envision, what we imagine is what we create, and we step into it and make that our reality. So, ergo, I just kind of assume that people are like me. And then when somebody in the grocery line is like, ice, ice, baby. And I'm just like, whoa. It is scary to realize like the people who are in support of citizens being shot in the head on their hands and knees by federal agents in the streets for any fucking reason at all is okay. For me, this is the only issue there is in America right now. Are you okay with that or not?
Yeah.
Can people get murdered in the streets by federal agents and get off scot-free or not? That's the issue. Nothing else matters anymore. And that's why I'm so ready to be political.
Can I throw a crazy idea at you, which is just related, is that weirdly enough, hypnosis actually is a humanizing way of understanding this, because rather than seeing people who believe things that we don't agree with as monsters or genetically troubled, or people that are the way they are because they're bad people, we can see that they are entranced. They are hypnotized to believe a certain set of beliefs, and that these things can be very deep. And in fact, it is just like how you change yourself. If you wanted to lose weight, for example, that you hypnotize yourself to be a person who loses weight, to be in that program. And similarly, people who believe in Trump have hypnotized themselves to believe in Trump, and that's why they side on certain issues rather than see them as
Ding, ding, ding. You are correct.
horrible human beings, deep, fundamentally to the core. They are just people, in my view, who have been hypnotized the wrong way. And that's scary and it matters, but that also shows that there's potential for change. And we are seeing that now. The cult is crumbling, and we know part of the reasons. One of this is a simple thing. You know, it's funny, there's a meme going around about QAnon where people said, all this time you were fighting a cabal of people, of pedophiles that are running the government, and now you find out you elected one president. Now, what's interesting about that is a trance breaker, because the trance is, I hate pedophiles, I'm stopping them from running the world. And then somebody goes, wait, what if the guy who's running the world is a pedophile? And then you're like, well, that's a confusion induction. It's a confusion induction right there. So that's happening. It's happening around us. And it's worth pointing out.
We are breaking the trance. We are collectively, yeah. And so you and I are here having an explicit and direct conversation about it, while acknowledging there is hope, right? Within this, there is hope. Because when you're not, go on.
No, you go on. Go on. Finish your point.
When you're not unconsciously the puppet of propaganda machines, and like, look, it happens to the best of us. You don't need to feel ashamed about it. We're vulnerable to this. We all have brains that have the same hacking.
To believe things that maybe aren't true, or believe, or be affected by propaganda. Yes, I understand what you're saying. I'm just clarifying. Yeah.
I don't think anyone is smart enough to be immune to the principles that you and I know are at work when we're talking about propaganda machines. You don't think they have people 10 times smarter than Albert and myself working for the CIA designing the propaganda? Like, we're here making a podcast because we know about this at an expert level. And I'm going to humbly tell you, the people designing your propaganda are unbelievably smarter than I am. And they're using it to program you. You're not immune to that. Nobody is. That's why we have to like fight to keep our consciousness. And say when I'm getting news, to be like, let me see what the other side is saying about this, just to know what else is out there.
Not only that, with AI, now it's even more something that can happen to anyone, meaning it's easy for anyone to start believing something that is total BS or completely concocted, because you have no way to check that it's true or not. Yeah, and this is happening. So it's important to be a bit forgiving, because people
That's exactly my point.
Easily can get talked into stuff that isn't
forgiving
true.
Of yourself as well.
Yeah.
Like
yes.
there's a courage. Yes. I see that, I really respect these men. I'm seeing men. I'm not seeing so many women who are in the Leaving MAGA movement and will bravely like make videos of themselves, put them up on Instagram and be like, I was MAGA and now I'm not. And I'm telling you, like, that's wrong. These people are so brave and so respectable, because there's also people who cannot face the shame of feeling like they were wrong, growing up in some environment in which they were made to feel small and stupid. And so feeling right about things, it's like these are precursors of like narcissism, personality. It's like, I cannot face my shame of who I am. I was made to feel so worthless by my horrible parents. Like, there are horrible parents out in the world. Horrible, horribly psychologically abusive and damaging parents. And then there's a whole spectrum until you get into healthy and functional. So a lot of people are growing up with this dysfunctional way of feeling, and it's how you get sucked into these like cult-like behaviors even being social behaviors, who you interact with, how you speak about topics. What are the topics that happen to come up consistently in conversation? Like, Albert, you and I are never speaking about baseball. That's not a common interest. It's not in our culture. So, like, questioning, bringing, turning the light around and looking like, well, how did I end up this way? And maybe a lot of it was unhealthy, frankly, abusive, traumatic programming that happened when I was very small. And it set me up to believe certain beliefs that I'm now willing to recognize just aren't really good for me or for society, really, if I think about it. And I'm willing to.
You know what's interesting, back to your confusion induction, how do confusion inductions, I'm kind of asking this a rhetorical question, what is the principle by which they work? And one of the principles is that the mind does not like, or the unconscious does not like confusing situations and seeks to resolve them with clarity. And so, for example, the reality of our political or social situation is that it is confusing. There's all kinds of competing voices and things you're not sure about or disagree with or don't understand. And when somebody comes along and says, this is the answer, they actually resolve the confusion. When they say it's all Biden's fault, that is actually feels good. It's relieving.
Sure.
And
It's
that's why
relieving.
scapegoating works, because it resolves the confusion of reality, and it works like a hypnotic induction. You're upset and confused by what's going on in your society. Well, did it ever occur to you that it is all Biden's fault? And you're like, oh, I don't know if it is, but that feels good. And when I
Mhm.
go with that, then we are now entering the trance, and everything else that comes with it. So confusion is a big factor. It's funny, when you first mentioned it, I was like, why is she mentioning confusion? Just because it's like not the most obvious kind of induction, but then I'm like, actually, it really speaks to what is happening, is that so
Right.
many people's childhood in America, and like the reason why trans stuff is such a factor is because trans stuff is confusing, literally. It confuses you about gender. We don't really understand it. Even trans people don't totally understand it. It is confusing. There's a lot of mystery there. And
Yeah.
so if somebody can come along and resolve the confusion by saying, oh, it's wrong, or it's this, or it's that, people, that closes the loop. People can now go, okay, I've got it figured out. This is the explanation. And that works like a hypnotic induction, when we resolve the confusing tension into clarity. And so people now have to start doing that around truth. We are living in confusing times, and this actually will lead maybe to our next big theme in terms of breaking the trance. So if you are, and I am, this is going to sound like a detour, but it really isn't. Stranger Things, which is like a massive phenomena. I know not everybody's into it. I am. But what's crazy about it, and I'm not going to give away too much, but the fourth season is all about breaking the trance. The fourth season, that's all it's about. There is a villain in it, I'm not going to give away too much, who has the ability to put people into deep trances that they cannot escape from. And it matters because the trances will kill you. If you cannot escape the trance, you will die. And so a big theme in the film, in the show, sorry, is how do we get people out of this trance? How do we break the trance? And you see it in the most terrifying way, because you understand what's going to happen. And then you know that people are going to die if they don't wake up. And this probably, just to give some background, relates to experiences we have when we're sleeping. Sometimes when you are sleeping, a big part of sleep is that you are sleeping, but you may not be breathing well. You may be uncomfortable. And there's actually a story going on. You'll often dream about somebody tapping you on the shoulder or somebody speaking loudly. And it's basically a dream telling you you can't breathe. You need to wake up. Or something's happening in the room that is of genuine concern, and it's a similar thing. You need to stop dreaming. You need to wake up. And that feeling, so this feeling of being deep in a trance and not being able to escape it is actually universal. There's nobody who hasn't experienced it. It happens in hypnosis because hypnosis is like dreaming. And it might be possible that somebody could be put in a trance where they could feel like, I can't escape it, even though I'm trying to. And so we want to give you some tips, some real tips about how you escape from trances. Am I making sense, by the way? Is this
It's sounding scary what you're saying, and I want to step in and
yeah,
temper that, just cool that down for a
okay.
moment
Okay.
because I mean, the statistic probability of that happening to you when you go to a hypnosis session is nothing. It's not gonna, if you're
Right.
working with me, it's certainly not going to happen. I'm not going
No,
to,
by the way,
no part of that's going to happen with me.
I am
Promise.
not saying, just for the record, I'm not saying that or hypnotists put you in a trance that you can't escape. That is
It's
very rare. You could,
impossible.
yeah.
It's not doable. And, the thing is, on the one hand, it's cool that Stranger Things has been featuring, the concept of trance,
Not,
whatever.
but
But
it
it
doesn't make it look
also,
good, by the way. It's
no, it
terrifying.
maligns us. And, as a professional working at a high level to really use hypnosis and hypnotherapy to profoundly, profoundly help people heal their lives, there's these myths and misconceptions that perpetuate, and they perpetuate through media like this. So now there's a whole nother generation of people who only know hypnosis or the idea of trance through this TV show that they once watched. And now they have this feeling of like, oh, it's like demons. And it's like, no, it's not.
To be fair, like Stranger Things doesn't begin with hypnotherapy sessions that go wrong or
Right.
something like that. But it does
Right. And
very,
neither did your political affiliation.
yeah. But it very clearly suggests this thing. What I think is this, it's a thing that people feel, that they can really feel. Like, what's intriguing about Stranger Things, and I'm not giving away the story, is that the way the trances happen is because the demon gets in your mind and reminds you of something that you feel guilty or bad about. And some of these things, what's interesting is they're neither here nor there, meaning, is it really that bad? What the person did, is it really that bad? You're not quite sure, but it's bad enough that the person goes into essentially a deep trance where they are obsessed with this guilty thing. And then they stay in the trance, and it's hard to get them out because they are deep in this feeling. Now, what's interesting about that is that as hypnotists, we know how to fix that. It's totally fixable. I'm watching the Stranger Things, and I'm like, why didn't they call me? I could fix that. Like, what? Here, this is what I would do right there.
That's how I'm feeling as you were describing it. I'm like,
Yeah. It's beautiful drama. I just want to say this, in that, look, I can appreciate it as film, that it's so powerful that the people you feel their imminent death happening because they won't wake up from the trance. But that's a metaphor for America right now.
yep, that's
Um,
right. That's
so
right. But we are
yes,
waking up, and there is a movement of
awakening.
people getting shaken enough to be like, whoa, yeah, it's
Yes.
there, but it's like something's like shaking, it's waking people up. Because like if I grabbed you by the shoulders while you're laying in bed at night, and I was like, wake up, there's something grabbing us all by the shoulders, and those of us who have already, identified as being on the, whether you call it the side of good or the lesser of two evils, it really doesn't matter. Just over here, knowing that what's going on over
Decency.
there is fucking
Decency. Yeah.
bad. Decency, I think that's a perfectly apt word for it. But there's still shaking happening to us as well.
Yes.
So,
So I'm just looking at some comments, but I'm not sure I follow them.
oh,
Um, yes. So right. So your point, yes, our point is there's a movement right now, particularly in America, but around the world, to wake up, not only because of the midterms and everything else, it's because the world is kind of on the edge of things and needs our conscious awareness now.
desperately needs it now. Do you want to save all of life? Or
Yeah.
just like, I can't be bothered. Now, I will say one more thing to tie together, where we began. We were talking about being in a state of trance or hypnosis through relaxation or being very relaxed. And then we spoke about how there's also being confused. It puts you in a suggestible state, and how propagandists and the culture of our time have been exploiting this confusion to feed messages.
Let
But
me
the
add a third.
relaxation part,
Let me add a third.
I want to talk about the relaxation part, because where we're getting the confusion and the fear is also like a confusion. It's like, well, what's going on? What's going on? Is when we're passively and in a sedentary state scrolling on a phone or scrolling on a screen. But there's a relaxation, which is an insincere, like not restful relaxation that occurs when you're sort of like zombie eyed and like with a screen. That's a So you're really like double whammying yourself. We just make ourselves so like such vulnerable prey for all the hyenas.
I noticed that the way this is happening, like I've just in the last year, I've noticed that sometimes I'll be on social media and I'll be like, what, wait, like 20 minutes went by or longer. And I actually had never planned, like I'd never planned to look at Instagram or Facebook or whatever. I didn't plan to do it. But now I'm doing it. And I'm realizing I'm running the program, which is the program is look at Instagram even when you don't want to and stare
Mhm.
at it for a while. I'm running that program. And then I catch myself and I shake my head, which is not actually a tip I'm offering, but that's what I do to sort of say, like, I got to get out of this trance, but it
Sure.
is totally a trance. All social media is trance inducing now. We can explain some of them. I'll go through them very, very quickly.
Okay,
The
cool.
Instagram flipping up and down, the images flipping your eyes imitates the flickering of eyelids when people go into trance, plus sort of like flashing lights. Yeah, like your eye movements are fantastic right now, exactly accurate. Going into trance. Um, TikTok does something very similar. The behavior, very short statements, people making powerful, attention-grabbing statements, anything that's
Gripping, captivating.
yes, captive fascination by definition is trance-inducing. So showing you and that's in fact a lot of what bad AI slop is right now. It's like, what if a
Fascination.
bear walked into the supermarket or something like that? Even though it's not real, you're like, well, that's kind of fascinating. So these sort of fascinating ideas grab your
Subtle.
attention, and now you're in a fascination mode, which actually makes you more hypnotizable. So,
Fascination is its own very interesting subject.
right,
We should do
fascinating.
next week's episode on fascination.
Fascination. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Yes. So Facebook, a similar thing, which is that people faces are hypnotic, eyes are hypnotic.
AI faces are crazy hypnotic.
That's right, and we have to
I
worry.
have seen myself looking at these AI faces, and I'm like, "Ugh." It's so beautiful that my eyeballs like can't believe how beautiful this human face is.
You know what's crazy is that before we used to feel like intimidated by like models and the beautiful people, and because they were, more beautiful than us, and now it's going to be the AI elite of people with the perfect symmetrical looks and genetically designed to be appealing and hypnotizing. And beauty, by the way, is a very, very hypnotic phenomena. Beautiful
Yeah.
faces.
Mhm.
Um,
Even
so
regular organic beauty, lame. But even
yeah,
that,
unfortunately. And that's kind of like what the fight back has got to be, is that we got to remember that real people, real beauty, real experience matters.
matters.
Yes. And is
And it's better for you,
and better for you.
healthier,
Yes.
better for you. That's what we're all about here. Hypnotherapy.
So people watching this, we gave some examples of compelling involuntary trances. So you have something like an actual hypnotist in the example of the movie Office Space. You have a political leader who uses essentially a confusion induction by taking an issue that is actually complex, like let's say trans rights and things like that, and resolves it by giving you a simple answer. That creates a hypnotic effect. Simplification, blame it all on, or whatever you want
That
to
thing
do.
you don't understand, it's wrong, it's bad, and it's their fault. Go get
That's
them.
right. Go get them. That's right. That simplifies and makes you feel good. The third one is this, what I'm calling the Stranger Things induction. The Stranger Things induction is some dark force in your life brings you to something in your life that's private and personal. This is often going to be done around sexuality or something that happened in your life. So something that you feel guilt about, or that you're not able to bring to a level of awareness, but you can't help thinking about obsessively. That happens in Stranger Things and sends people into deep trances that they cannot escape from in the
And
show.
that's happening in the world right now with
Yes.
a horror show that is American politics. It's a
Yes.
horror show for all to see, and we can't stop watching, and it's bleeding into my brain, and I'm
How
having
so?
nightmares about
Yes.
children being abused because I can't stop. That's problematic.
A
I
lot of
have to
people probably
choose.
are. Yeah.
It's a lot of people probably are. So this is also, how close is how many more items on your list? Because I could go on a tear, but I could reel it
Okay,
in.
well, I just want to finish it by saying, well, we're going to explain, but maybe you go on a tear first, but we're going to explain how you break out of these trances, because there are ways that are taught in traditional hypnosis to help people come out of trance if they are too deep in. Uh, and I actually think I'm going to give you some examples that break the rules. It is a common belief in hypnotherapy that somebody can wake up from a trance if they really want to. But actually, there are a few exceptions. It's generally true, but there are some exceptions. What were you going to say, though?
I'll just make it a footnote. Um, because the most popular word in the news right now is pedophile, many people are being forced to relive trauma, which is another trance state because you're not in the present moment, you're in the past. And when that is occurring, you're living through your adult body in the present moment through the past pain of a young child. This is very, very dangerous and adding to the complexity of this web of problems that we have because even the best and brightest among us are activated into some childlike trauma state. And then that's who's showing up to like go to work or interact with society or go to a political town hall or run for Congress, like where there's wounded children and we're all being activated and operating from that. That's how this bullying is just getting worse and worse because we're not acting like grown-ups. We're regressing into a child trauma state, and children aren't ever trying to hurt other children. They're trying to protect themselves from being hurt because they're vulnerable. So here we have 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old men and women who feel like vulnerable little children and are lashing out at each other. And this is just it's the fucking Lord of the Flies. So we have to
I should
break
just,
the trance.
yeah.
Break the trance and come back to your senses. You're an adult. It's time to grow up and act like one. That means you speak to other people with respect. You say please and thank you. You try to consider that the person who's talking about something that you don't agree with maybe is actually smart and has something interesting to say and is worth listening to. That's called respecting another person. It's just giving them a chance to exist and not immediately be judged by you as an asshole, a piece of shit, a lowlife, a scumbag, whatever, the opposite of that. Like snooty people, snobs, right?
Without going too far with
more
this,
money than me.
yeah. Without going too far with this, I would just say that what you're saying is with the word, for example, pedophile or any word, like if people were talking about sharks and every time in the news, it was like you kept hearing the word shark, you see a shark in your mind. This is what we understand in hypnosis. So people are referencing when they hear the word pedophile, either personal experience.
Stop saying it.
Yeah, right. When
Please.
they're seeing those words, they are seeing it in their minds and the idea is there. There is actually a trick to avoid it, which is that in hypnosis you would reframe the word as something else, and then so every time you hear the word you see something like ice cream or I don't know, a chicken running down the road. You can change it, you can protect yourself in that way. But I can see why. I think what you're saying is that it's charging up people's traumas and their traumatic experiences, which is stopping them from being rational and reasonable because they're coming from a point of view of traumatic rage rather than reason. And so that's why some people seem crazy around these issues, and maybe they're not crazy. But that's a whole other issue. I think we're talking about this other phenomena.
Well, breaking the trance of believing that you are powerless and vulnerable when in fact you have resources and agency, and that is how we repair the world and save democracy, is by saying, I'm not powerless. I have some amount of power and I'm going to use it to do this good thing in the world.
Yes.
I'm not going to use it for ill, of
Yes.
course not, because I'm a grown-up. But
Yes.
but stepping into the calling that was really like the alarms are sounding for every single man, woman, and child. Get your boots on and get to work and save this world.
I think you're right. One way to break the trance is to do stuff, just to do stuff for real. Stand up and do stuff. But okay, so let's give people some practical tips. If you are worried that you are entranced either by ideas or are in a kind of hypnotic trance, or if you're just lying in your bed and you're trying to get up, but you're too entranced to do it, then what do you do?
Mhm.
So let me give you some classic examples. So there's a very interesting thing, and I have found this to be true. If you are frightened of the very, very deep trance, meaning you're there thinking about like this and your eyes kind of go like this, you're thinking about something really scary, really troubling, and you can't stop thinking about it. Actually, a really powerful trick is to move your eyes around. And let me explain why. You literally sort of move them around in all directions, you move them. And what that does, because to fixate, for your brain to fixate on something, you're doing it very well, by the way, to really fixate on something, your eyes need to hold still. And when people are psychotic, they actually, their eyes go like this. They fixate and they are only really kind of thinking about one thing. And
Yeah.
so
And usually it's not a happy thing.
that's right. It's this terrifying thing that they somehow think they need to pay attention to. So this is what happens in Stranger Things. The
Wow.
people fixate and they go into a very deep trance. That's why if I was there, if I was in Stranger Things, I'd be, excuse me, could you just tell that young lady to just move her eyes around, begin moving her eyes, hear me, move your eyes around. And that can often break people immediately out of trance because they don't have the loop going on of the fixation loop that is part of psychosis in a way, or just trance. So, number one, that's a really, really good, interesting trick. You pointed
Move
something
your
out,
eyes
and
around. Move
I
your eyes around and also look at something far away. That's a good thing to just text your friend right now. Hey, look at something far away. We're always here, 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 here. When you're like, what's the furthest thing away I can see? You just start to, oh, there's a tree all the way over. Hey, that tree's been in my backyard I've lived here for 2 years. I never even noticed it because I'm always looking here, here, here. Look at something far away.
like it. Next one would be countdown, count up. So everybody experiences this, but it seems this is sort of a sign that you're experiencing more maybe unwelcome trances. So sometimes, like I know in the winter this is more common where you like you're comfortable in your bed. It's time for you to get up, and you can't get out of bed. You're entranced by the warmth and niceness of the bed, but you know it's like time to go
Maybe
to work.
even the coziness of your snuggly cat. Oh man, it's
Yeah,
so
or
hard. I'm
yeah.
entranced.
So some people will be like lie in bed, or they will sit in a chair and they literally can't get up. So there's a great trick, which is counting. It just animates the mind to change the program. So you can either do it with a countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or how do you do it? You do it by
Um, well,
counting, counting up.
it's not only counting up, it's realizing if you're in a trance state that's you can use that to your benefit. You can lean in. You can recognize I'm in a trance state, which means that I'm receptive to suggestion. So I'm going to give myself the suggestion or auto suggestion or self hypnosis. I'm going to give myself the suggestion that I'm going to count from 1 to 5. And when I get to number 5, I'm going to open my eyes wide awake and put my feet on the floor and start my day. 1, 2, 3, and then 5. And if you clap your hands, that also will give you an audio trigger. Wake up. That's good. A kinesthetic trigger. As I clap, there's sensation entering my body. I'm making it happen. But giving yourself the suggestion first is also key to the success of this technique.
I want to remind you, I really like the point you just made, and I'm just repeating it because it's a great point, which is when you find yourself in a trancy state, you don't have to go, oh no, I'm in a trancy state. That's bad, because trances are natural, but you can use it to your advantage. And I would just add one thing. If I was going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide awake, and now I'm going to have a day, I would say, I would add in some adjective.
Happy, wonderful,
Yes, amazing day.
joyful day of laughter. Fuck
And
yeah.
yeah, fuck yeah. So
Fuck yeah. I'm a fuck yeah day.
yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go.
So this is another trick to get yourself going when you're feeling too daydreamy. But so we're just saying to repeat, don't punish yourself because you were daydreamy. Instead, create a more alert and awake state. Next tip.
Another tip for, yeah, well, again, you can lean in. We don't need to break the trance when you find yourself in these micro moments. In the macro, though, we want to break the trance of like, what the system is oppressing us with.
Sorry, we just said
Oh,
we
dear.
just yeah, the server was talking to us for some reason.
I don't know if
Um,
I have any other tips. I feel like 3 is plenty. You
okay,
only really need one.
yeah,
Use it. Here's my tip. Use one of those other 3 tips.
yeah,
Don't.
yes.
That's my top tip. Actually do something about it.
Yeah, we're in the trance of trying to be helpful or something like that. So
Right.
yeah, we're breaking that
Yeah.
trance.
You really
I
only
think,
need to remember one of these things. Roll your eyes around and or look at something far away and or give yourself a suggestion like when I count from 1 to 5, I'm going to be in my regular waking consciousness, feeling calm and with a level-headed, rational mind. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
and by the way, we are running out of time, so I wanted to say, so maybe just maybe if I can summarize a little bit to say, part of what we've been talking about is the idea that trance is, people have a common fear that trance states are overpowering, and some of them are. I think you beautifully described this sort of feeling that people have in the world right now, that it's out of control, it's heading somewhere bad, it's like a runaway train. That is very similar, if I can, to the phenomenon Stranger Things, where people become obsessed with about the inevitability of their own ruin or something bad that they've done. Similarly,
Mhm.
you can let that go. That might be a trance. The feeling that the world's a runaway train and we're all headed to ruin might be a trance.
Yeah, it really might be. Why don't we wake up and see that there's a lot of hope and optimism and a lot of places for opportunity where we can step into positions of power and work towards achieving and creating a society that will actually be happy to bring children into.
I just shared a meme that is kind of what we're talking about. It kind of broke my trance, which was somebody said, "Hey, isn't it amazing that we could fix almost all of our problems by taxing billionaires instead of having them be grotesquely wealthy, they could just be obscenely wealthy. And if we tax them well, we would solve climate change,
Solve everything.
we would solve everything." And so it's just, aside from whether you agree with it or not politically, is an example of maybe a simple idea can break the trance and change everything. Um, and so it is important to go into trance. I can let you sneeze. It is important, bless you. It is important to break the trance, and it's important to experience quality trances. That's what we talk about here on Break the Trance and the Staying Sane podcast. By the way, we have a short film coming out called Break the Trance, which you should check
Yeah.
out, which will be on this channel and maybe others very
Yeah,
soon.
I'll be putting it on my Instagram. Hypnotherapy now. It's
And on
not
hip,
my Instagram, it's our Instagram. It's the
right,
collective Instagram of the best people in hypnotherapy. That's the goal.
right.
Hypnotherapy.now.
We're starting that now to break the trance. So I will stop repeating the word break the trance because that could be
Break the
break the
trance.
trance. Thank you everybody for joining us.
Go
Uh,
be IRL.
yeah, we'll see you. Yeah, we'll see you in real life, and go out and enjoy the day, the amazing day. Thank you very much. Bye.